Shalom from Karen B'Yavne. The Torah reading on the first day of Rosh Hashanah is Vashem Pakad Es Sarah. Why that choice? Certainly, the most basic explanation that's given is based on that which the Gemara tells us in Rosh Hashanah Daf Yud Aleph. And on Rosh Hashanah, Sarah, Rachel, and Chana were granted their pregnancy and bore children. Rosh Hashanah is not only the day of the creation of the world, thousands of years ago, but every Rosh Hashanah is a creation of the world in a certain sense of that year. Every year has its own characteristics and its own gifts. The fact that we didn't have something the previous year doesn't mean that we won't have it in the new year. That's the simple explanation. Darshanim suggest another explanation for this reading. We find that Yishmael is dying of thirst, and the Malachei Asharis are very comfortable with that. They point out that in the future, Yishmael, if he survives, his descendants will do all sorts of terrible things to the Jewish people. Suicide bombers, all sorts of terrorist attacks, slitting throats of babies. And the Malach HaShai say, why should he survive? But HaKadosh Baruch Hu responds, Shama Elokim El Kol Anar Ba'asher Hu Sham. The person's judged according to his present state. The lesson we're meant to learn is that if on Rosh Hashanah, during the Yamim Noraim, we are sincere, we truly make an attempt to become better people, then we're judged favorably, even if God knows in the future we might fail. But perhaps one could suggest an additional explanation for this reading on Rosh Hashanah. One might draw a contrast between Avimelech on one hand and Avram on the other with respect to how they respond to criticism. Avram gives Musar to Avimelech concerning the wells that his Avadim stole. And what's Avimelech's reaction? I didn't know, you didn't tell me, how it's not my problem. He shirks responsibility. He doesn't accept the blame. On the other hand, we find that Avram is told by Sarah to send away Yishmael. Avram had a great love for Yishmael. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Avram that Sarah Imen will have a child, then Avram's reaction is, Lu Yishmael Yichyeh lefanecha. But Ramban understands that Avram is saying, I'm very happy that you're promising me a child from Sarah, but it shouldn't come at the expense of Yishmael. And despite this love of Yishmael, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Avram Avinu to listen to what Sarah Imenu has to say, Avram doesn't say, well, maybe we'll give him another chance. He's not so bad. Let's have some negotiations. Let's try to make some deal. Vayashkem Avram baboker v'yikach lechem v'chayim ma'aseh hamayim, and he sends Yishmael away, like HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him. He listens to Sarah. So we have over here Avram Avinu that listens to criticism, that's willing to change his path, and Avimelech that just makes excuses. We, as descendants of Amram Avinu, are meant to be willing to think about the actions that we've done over the past year, to think about whether perhaps God is telling us to change course, whether God would tell us to reconsider certain actions which we might have done. We know that also David HaMelech and also Shaul HaMelech had certain failings. Shaul was not forgiven. David was. And the Gemara explains this is due to the fact that whereas Shaul, when accused by Shmuel for those things which he's done wrong, he starts to make excuses. He blames others. David, the second he realizes he made a mistake, chatasi, and thus he's forgiven. On Rosh Hashanah and Yomim Noraim, it's a good opportunity for us to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to God. I'm sorry to our spouses. I'm sorry to our families, to our friends, if there might have been anything which we've done wrong. If in fact we are sincere in our tshuva, in our attempt to think about whether we need to change certain things that we've been doing, then in fact HaKadosh Baruch Hu will respond, Salachti kedvaracha, Shana tova, k'tiva v'chatima tova.